Hey, good morning, everybody. I was just out there this morning. We were getting the chickens out, and I just keep walking past this pile of limbs that I keep gathering in our backyard. We had this ice storm a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know if, like us, you have quite a few limbs down, and it honestly kind of got me thinking, when storms come, we typically have a lot to clean up here. We have wind or we have ice or whatever that is. It shakes these trees, and every branch that is weak, gets torn down, and it just makes a mess. But it ultimately the strong portion of the tree remains. It just was really making me thinking even of a passage we were studying last night at our Bible study in Hebrews 12, and it talked about how when he comes, he will shake everything. He will shake not only earth but heaven. The purpose in that is actually an encouragement. That it actually describes God in that as a consuming fire. And kind of like these limbs that get shaken down. The things that are weak, the things that don't last. We don't really want them. They just become kind of excess in our lives, and kind of a nuisance in our backyard, and the beauty is that the Lord is good enough to shake those things, but it doesn't feel good to be shaken. The response in that the writer tells us is, the fact is we actually have an unshakable kingdom, and since we have an unshakable kingdom, we ought to have gratitude, and in that gratitude, we cling to the fact that in that unshakable kingdom, we will not perish, but maybe things in our lives will perish. I don't know if, like me, you look back at 2020, and even just in the beginning of 2021, you're like, what? There are things in my life that have absolutely been shaken. I've been shaken away from some comforts in my life. I've been shaken away from some beliefs and some things that I really thought were stout and that I could hope in, and ultimately I couldn't. And I hope in that you find a response that's like what Hebrews says, you're grateful. And although it doesn't feel good, it's ultimately how it's displayed in our lives that these things aren't going to last. But the hope is we have a kingdom that is unshakable, and therefore in gratitude we can say, what, though these things in my life haven't lasted, we get to cling to this kingdom. We get to cling to the truth that God will carry us through. We get to cling to the fact that eternally, if we hold fast to that covenant God has made with us through Jesus Christ, through the blood of his Son and atonement for sin and the giving of his Holy Spirit, we hold fast to an eternal position in him. So though the world around you may be shaking, and it's like when you look outside in a storm and you see a tree that's just shaking all over the place, and you think, oh my goodness, it's going to fall, but in the end it stands. I pray that even if things in your life and you yourself are shaken, that you will not fall, and that in that ultimately it's because of your belief rooted in the God who absolutely loves you, who wants what's good for you, so much that he will shake the things away from you that ultimately won't last. That's what a good father does. So let him shake those things away, and in that, see the things that he's called you to cling to. His promise to love you, his promise to conquer sin through the blood of his Son, his promise to give you of his Holy Spirit to lead you in what is good, what is holy, and is honorable. His promise of his word that you can cling to, walk in, and teach your children, love your spouse with, love your community with, knowing in faith that that's what's going to last. I want to encourage you with that this morning. I pray it does encourage you that no matter what you see in the world around you, his kingdom is going to last forever. May that give you hope. May that give you strength, because you're loved by him. Be blessed. I love you, church. I pray you have a blessed day and rest of your week.